haven't done a stream in a little while. And I've never done a stream in this mode. I think this is like shorts mode or whatever. I'm sick as shit, obviously, so it's not going to be a super high energy stream. But we're just going to read some no-sleep stories. I found this one. It's called A Stranger Approached My Car at Night with a Warning, Check the Back Seat. So let's just get into it. Oh, and this story is written by 11 Velociraptors, also known as Evan. It seems like they're, yeah, it seems like they just write horror stories. So, let's just get right into it. I like to think that I take my personal safety very seriously. I don't stand too close to the road while waiting for the walk signal. I have my location shared with my sister and mom. I keep my wits about me when I'm out in public, and I try not to dawdle after getting into my car. If I had only been more diligent about the last rule. I might not be in this situation right now. Sorry, this is gonna be weird. I don't read internet stories all that much, so this kind of layout is weird. Early this morning, just after midnight, I was sitting in my parked car outside one of my favorite grocery stores. Fuck yeah. Who has a favorite grocery store? Whatever. I was exhausted from picking up a friend's evening shift. Okay. And so I stopped to grab dinner on my way home from work. The store is in an isolated part of town, but I never felt unsafe in the area. Then again, I'd never been out so late at night. The second I exited the store with my purchase, the old cashier closed up shop for the night and turned off all the lights in the building. I need to go full screen, hold on. Where the fuck is the full screen button? Whatever, fuck me. Not like F11 is. What is it? F11 normally? Yeah, it's not. It's not. Fuck you. I fucking hate this thing. Anyway. For some reason, I did something I never do. I started eating in my car. As a precaution, I try not to linger in isolated parking lots, especially as a young woman who often has to run errands after dark. Just fucking keep a gun. It's really that simple. Whatever. I'm sorry, I'm gonna pause a lot. I'm gonna narrate this, but I'm also gonna pause a lot. If you're scared for your safety, why do you not have a gun? Whatever. Where was I? I lost my place. Oh, yeah. Maybe it was the hunger, or maybe the fact that due to a recent breakup, my house hasn't felt all that welcoming in the past few weeks. In any case, I was in no rush to return home. I pulled up an episode of The Terror on my phone and settled in to eat. I enjoyed a few minutes of bliss, peaceful and quiet, before a shout pierced through the night. I looked up from my phone and was surprised to find a woman standing in front of my car, waving her arms at me. My car was parked right in front of the store, facing towards the building, and there was only a thin sidewalk separating my vehicle from the store's exterior. I hadn't seen her coming at all. It was like she had emerged from the black wall before me. She ran in my car, coming to a stop beside the driver's side window. She then started pointing at the ground, the universal signal for roll your window down. Fat chance, I thought. Yeah, that's not the universal signal to roll your window down, it's this. But, okay. Though she looked sane and kempt, I had no clue what her intentions were. In fact, I felt pretty vindicated in always locking my car's door immediately after entering. The woman, perhaps seeing I was making no move to exit my vehicle, then told me something no one wants to hear. "Hey," she shouted, "there's someone in your back seat." My mouth went dry. Time seemed to slow as 1,000 horror movie scenes raced through my head. I could almost feel the piano wire digging into my neck. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, that took a turn. The barrel pressed into my temple. Holy shit. I undid my seatbelt and prepared to launch myself out of the car. Now that the intruder knew I was aware of their presence, Would I even have enough time to run? With one hand on the door handle, I stole a glance into the rear view mirror and saw no one. My car is a compact hatchback, nice, meaning there was very little room for a person to hide in my cabin. I'm guessing it was like a Golf or something. Very good choice in cars. I take back everything I said about her so far. Even in my exhausted state, I would have noticed someone upon looking into the mirror. My terror fading into confusion, I turned around in my seat, surveying the cabin with my own eyes. I confirmed there was no one in my back seat. Click. When I turned back around, the woman had taken another step closer to my car. Her body was barely a foot from my door, and her fingers were wrapped around the handle. There were a few more deep clicks as she tried unsuccessfully to open the locked door. I raised my gaze, and she gave me an odd smile, as though she and I were sharing a private joke. For the first time, using the faint glow of the streetlight, I took a closer look into the woman's face. Her skin was stretched tightly across her skull, making her thin mouth and nostrils appear as though they had been cut onto her. That's creepy. Her eyes were deep set and ovate. I don't know what that means, but whatever. I'm assuming it's something to do with the shape of her eyes. And her teeth seemed both too small and too numerous. I allowed myself a brief moment to gawk at the face before me, and then I threw my car into reverse and hightailed it out of the parking lot. For a few disheartening seconds, the woman held onto the door, keeping in step with my vehicle as I backed up. Luckily, she soon let go, and I drove away. My mind racing with the realization that that woman was trying to bait me out of the car. Even more disturbing was the fact that it had almost worked. I wondered if she had others with her that I simply hadn't seen. Sorry. I wondered if she had fuck me. I wondered if she had others with her that I simply hadn't seen. My throat is so fucking sore. This is miserable. Okay. Where was I? And what she had wanted from me. I hoped I had narrowly escaped a robbery, as opposed to something much more sinister. I got back to my house 20 minutes later, still shaken from my encounter. I rushed inside the house and made sure that all of my doors and windows were locked. My exhaustion did little to soothe my nerves. My mind played tricks on me as I got ready for bed, conjuring up flashes of the woman's face in the dark corners of my house. Once I finally fell asleep, my fears followed me from the waking world. I had a long, vivid nightmare, most of which I've either forgotten or is irrelevant to this account. All I know is that when I was jolted awake, All I know is that when I jolted awake some hours later, it was to the sound of frantic banging on my front door. I sat up in bed, unsure if I was still dreaming or not. My alarm clock read 4:17. It was far too early for someone to be knocking on my door unless there was some kind of emergency, which, given the forcefulness of the knocks, there may have been. No. 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 What? Whatever. It's clearly the woman. Slowly, I rose from my bed and inched towards the entryway. I had never been in such a situation, and was at somewhat of a loss as to how to react. I didn't smell a fire, thankfully, but that didn't mean all was well. Suddenly, I heard a man's voice calling out my name in a questioning tone. It sounded vaguely familiar, but I couldn't immediately place it. "Who is it?" I called back. "Brian," answered the disembodied voice, and relief washed over me. My neighbor Brian lived in the house across the street. We weren't exactly close, but I often saw him walking down the block with his dog Bailey. I turned on the entryway light, but as I still was in my sleepwear, I didn't want to open the door unless I had to. Instead, I called back, "What's the matter?" "Well," he began. I heard his voice crack and cleared his throat. "Do you have someone over right now?" "What?" I asked, my heart skipping a beat. "No, I don't. Why do you ask?" "Well, the dog had to go out while I was in the yard with him. Sorry. Well, the dog had to go out, and while I was in the yard with him, I thought I saw someone in your front window. Someone who didn't look quite right. Where was I? Where was I? Oh, there. I stilled, feeling as though I were in some terrible dream. Turning around and glancing down the dark hallway, I wished I had turned on more lights on my way to answer the door. She followed you home, I thought. She's in your house with you right now. I was ready to bolt out the door into the cold, but by some miracle, I had just enough presence of mind left to consider my neighbor's words more carefully. Something was wrong. I stepped away from the door. Are you all right, Brian? He cleared his throat again, and when he next spoke, his voice sounded slightly different from before, as though he were testing out a new, I'm gonna just say tone, because I don't know what the fuck that word is. Of course, I just got a bit of a cold here, but I still wanted to check up on you. So I'm guessing that it's some kind of mimicking situation. A lot of these horror stories, especially on No Sleep, have like mimicking going on and mimicry. So I'm guessing that's what's happening here. But we'll keep going. My voice wavered as I voiced a question to my neighbor. But your dog, isn't it a girl? Brian didn't respond. My mind reeled in the torturous silence, trying to discern whether the threat was outside the door or inside my house with me. After a full minute of complete stillness, the handle on my front door began to turn. Jesus Christ. Brian's not Brian. I was right. All right. The person on the other's. Oh, sorry. The door began to turn, and the front door the front door began to move. It rotated downwards as far as it could before the lock stopped it, then shook as the person on the other side of my door pulled out on the handle. This happened several more times as the person tested my lock, and then there was a forceful bang, as though someone had rammed into my door with all their might. After that, there was silence again. I stood frozen in place for another minute. I had no peephole, but I worked up the nerve to walk into the living room and peer through the blinds into my front yard. In the distance, walking down the street away from my house, was a figure. Although I couldn't see the face, something deep down within me knew it was the same person who had tried to open my car door. I watched her walk away into the quiet night until she disappeared from my view. Needless to say, I didn't get much sleep for the rest of the night. I split my time between roaming the perimeter of my house, looking for anything suspicious, and sitting in my kitchen running the events of the night through my mind. The most likely explanation was that I had been dreaming. After all, I'd nearly been baited into opening my door to a potential criminal just hours before, so it made sense that I'd have a nightmare about a similar situation. Then again, I had never, in my entire life, had a dream so vivid. Maybe, somehow, the woman really did follow me home. She easily could have stuck a tracker on my car, but how in the world did she know Brian's name? And how had she impersonated him so well? The sun is setting now. I haven't left the house all day, and I've been too haunted by the idea of someone, or multiple someones, trying to draw me out into the open. No matter how many times I check the house, I still feel as though I catch glimpses of the woman in my periphery, of her beady eyes and uncanny smile. Sorry, I cleared my throat. I suppose I should try to get some sleep now. Impossible as that seems at this point, I just needed to jot this down before I went to bed, in case anything happens to me, and before you ever think about blindly trusting the warnings of a stranger. That was good. I would say the solution is just blast your door down with a shotgun. One of those shots will hit the person on the other side, but I digress. Let's check out another one, but it's getting hot in here, and I was trying not to waste gas on air conditioning, but it's just unbearable. Alright, this one's a bit longer. This one is called Every Night My Entire Town Locks Down for 12 Minutes. I Finally Learned Why. By Bad Andy the Red. You know the kind of town where everyone knows everyone? Where the local diner serves coffee and mugs stamped with your name, and everyone will lend a hand to a neighbor in need? A place where generations of family grew up together. Well, this is the sort of place where I live. Sure, it's a bit rustic. Hell, I barely have reliable internet. But it is nice enough for us. Could have just said it's nice enough. Whatever. It's the kind of place where time feels like standing still, except for one thing. The nights. The nights here are a little different. Sorry, I really gotta clear my throat. Alright. And for those of you who are just joining us, we're reading No Sleep Stories. And my door won't fucking shut. There we go. I've lived here all my life, and there's no place I'd rather be, or at least that's what I used to think. This place has its quirks, like any small town, but there's one big thing that stands out for us. You see, every night, without fail, at 11:38 p.m., the town locks down. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'm really sick, so this is fucking killing my throat. I'm not talking about just closing up shops and less people being out and about. I'm talking about a real lockdown. Doors slam shut and are barred, windows rattle and lock, and everyone knows they have to be inside and stay inside, at least for what happens next. The next part is strange. No one ever sees anything moving out there directly, but we all just know. We just know that somehow, something outside is trying to get in. An eerie silence falls over the street. It's like the whole damn town is holding its breath. Then, in 12 minutes exactly, it's all over. I've always wondered why it happens at exactly 11:38 p.m. People here don't talk much about it. But when they do, they whisper. They say it's just the way things are, that it's been happening as long as anyone can remember, but I know better. I've seen it, whatever it is. The first time I noticed it, I was still pretty young. I think 10 or 11. I'd stay up late reading some of my favorite comic books. My parents warned me, like many other kids in town, that we had to go to bed early. But if we did get up, then absolutely no leaving the house or leaving any windows or doors open. I was not asleep, but was still following the rules when I heard the strangest sound. It was a low, guttural hum that seemed to vibrate through the walls. I looked out the window, and that's when I saw it. The streets were empty, but there was a presence. It's hard to describe. It wasn't a person or an animal. It was something else. Something that didn't feel like it belonged. It moved with a strange, jerky motion, like it wasn't entirely in control of its own body. It radiated a disturbing sense of distortion that made my head hurt and my eyes had a difficult time focusing on it. I could feel its overwhelming sense of hunger that made my skin crawl. Before I knew it, it was over. It had passed my house, and I realized I had been staring out my window in a hypnotic daze. Shut up. Fucking hate the door sensors. I mean, they're, necessary to not getting your door blown off when you're driving, but just shut the fuck up. I'm sitting in my driveway. Not like I'm going anywhere. I just spit all over my computer. Whatever. I lost track of where I was. Sorry. It was almost midnight, and I went to sleep, and I did not tell my parents about the disturbing thing I had seen. I didn't see it again for years, but the feeling never left. Every night at 11:38 on the dot, when the town shuts down, I know it was there. We all try to act like it's not, just behave like we're on a strict curfew and that nothing is really out there. Yet the people who are too bold or foolish and think that it's nothing, well, they don't last long. Those of us who are still here know that whatever that thing is, it's out there, stalking, hunting, looking for anything, an open window, a cracked door. Disappearances are frequent, especially for such a small town. Police have a whole song and dance for anyone who goes missing from the outside. But when it is a resident, well, it is more of a case of when the families of the victims are reprimanded for not knowing better. My God, fucking throat. No one knows why the window of time is so mercifully brief. Almost just as suddenly as it starts, it's over by 11:50 p.m. The streets are quiet again, and the town feels normal, but it's not normal. It never was. People here have learned to live with it. They've locked their doors, shut their windows, and pretend it's not happening. I asked my parents why we don't just move, and they never gave me a good answer. All they said was, it wouldn't do any good. We have to endure. It has to be here. It's safer for everyone if it's here. It didn't make sense. So, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm guessing that whatever this thing is something that is feeding on the people, obviously. But it also keeps the danger out, so, it feeds on anything living, maybe, and it keeps the, criminals or the bad people out. That's my guess. But it also has its drawbacks, which is it'll kill civilians, too. But let's see. Where was I? I know people can get attached to places, but it felt crazy to me. I couldn't just pretend this was normal. Not after what I saw. Not after what I felt. There was something out here, and it was worse than anyone would believe. It was just recently that I saw it again. It was a normal night, at least as normal as nights could be in my town. I was getting ready to go to bed when I noticed that my cat Quincy was missing. Oh no. Oh no. If you don't want to hear about a cat getting mauled to death, which I'm guessing this is where it's going, just don't, this is not the stream for you. Jesus Christ. I looked everywhere, but I couldn't find him. Then I heard something. I looked through the window to spot a familiar fuck. Sorry, this is getting really bad. I don't know how much longer I can go. I'm starting to lose my voice. Yes, I looked out the window to spot a familiar shape, and my heart sank. He was outside. He must have gotten out when I had come home early, and was sauntering, whatever, along the sidewalk, clueless to the impending danger. The time was 11:36 p.m. I had no idea if the creature did anything to animals, but I did not want to find out. I had never, oh God. Oh, this is getting bad. I don't know if I can finish this story. I had never let Quincy outside before, and he did not come back to my shouts. I had to do something dangerous and stupid to save him. I rushed outside, sprinting toward him as I tried to grab him and bring him back before it was too late. I managed to reach him and pick him up, but then I froze when I sensed a presence. As I was scrambling back to my door, Quincy's ears were folded back and he hissed. I felt paralyzed, and then I thought I saw it coming. It was different this time, larger and more overwhelming than before. Its presence seemed to fill the entire street, pressing against the houses like an unseen force. I tried to run, but my legs wouldn't move. I was frozen in place, my breath caught in my throat. To my horror, it seemed to finally regard me. Quincy jumped out of my hands and ran back into my house. He had fortunately evaded whatever interest the thing might have had with him. The creature's head twisted unnaturally in my direction, its distorted features coalescing into more recognizable shapes. Staring into the grotesque visage forced a scream out of me as I beheld the blasphemous impossibility. I turned and sprinted away, screaming like a maniac, my heart hammering against my ribcage with the force such as beat that felt like it might crack my chest open. Jesus. The sound of its pursuit echoed behind me, a wet slapping noise like a monstrous jellyfish gliding across the ground. Its deafening roar filled the air, shaking the ground beneath my feet as I ran for my life. I did not know if I could get away from it. No one I knew had been outside and survived. I ducked into an alley, my hands shaking as I pressed myself against the wall. My breath came in short, sharp gasps, and I could feel sweat dripping down my face. I didn't dare look around the corner. I didn't dare move. But, Jesus. Oh, this is fucking getting bad. Ugh. And then I heard the harrowing screams. They sliced through the air, piercing and full of terror. My heart raced as I strained to see who was making them, but all I could make out were shadowy figures caught in the open. The screams were short, sharp, and then they were swallowed by the night. The deafening silence that followed only added to the fear weighing down on me. I stayed pressed against the wall, trying to make myself as small and invisible as possible. The darkness seemed to come alive with every creak and rustle, amplifying my fear. I held my breath until I heard the sound of the creature moving away, and then, just like that, it was gone. But the eerie stillness lingered, haunting me even after the clock struck 11:50 p.m. The streets were once again quiet, but my nerves were still on edge. I stumbled back to my house, every step feeling like a race against time. Quincy waited anxiously at the door and bolted inside with me, seeking shelter inside. Okay. Say inside twice in the same sentence. Sorry. The horrible night had left me shaken, but grateful to be alive. Whatever the thing is, it does not belong in this world. It is not of this time or place, and its presence is so unsettling. It makes your mind ache just to catch a glimpse of it. No one can tell of its origins. Maybe they are lost in the depths of history. But whatever its history, it remains. Always there, lurking in the shadows every night without fail. At that point, I did the one thing you probably think everyone should have done by now. I left my hometown. I moved to the largest city I could reach. I moved to the largest city I could reach to get away from it. My parents did not approve. In fact, they tried to tell me I could not go. I was so desperate to get out of there that I had to sneak away in the early morning when they could not interfere. So, I'm going to change my prediction. I still think it's a thing that, I still think it's there to, like, feed on any person. I don't know about animals, seeing that it didn't get the cat, so it might not be every living creature, but I think it's every person. And I think that the reason he can't move away is it's going to find him somehow. I think it's some kind of protector that makes sure people can't come in or out. That's what I think. Anyway, I never understood why we all stayed there and tried to ignore it. The eldritch nightmare that haunted us at night. It seemed so simple, and I felt better at first. The city felt alive with the hum of traffic. Shit, Jesus Christ. And the distant chatter of people during the day. Fuck me. Where was I? A cacophony that made me feel safe. Anonymous. Oh, made me feel safe. Anonymous. Indeed, I thought I'd left that nightmare behind me. That the creature was just a memory, a relic of a past I could bury. My new apartment. It's a cozy studio on the 5th floor, with a view of the bustling streets below, high enough where looking out the window does not fill me with dread at night. Unfortunately, something happened last night that has shattered this shattered the fragile illusion of my peaceful transition. Jesus Christ. Ugh. On the first night in my new place, I sat on the edge of my bed, flipping through a magazine to distract myself from the creeping unease that had settled in the pit of my stomach. The clock on the nightstand read 11:28 p.m. I told myself I was being paranoid. The creature was gone, that I was safe now. But the weight of the past lingered. A shadow in the corner of my mind that I couldn't shake. I really don't know how much longer I can go. I'm really starting to fucking lose my voice. By 11:38 p.m., the city outside my window was eerily quiet. Oh. The usual sounds of traffic and distant music had faded, replaced by an unsettling stillness. I was right, I think. Who is that? Get the fuck away from my house. What the fuck are you doing? Whatever. Fucking weirdo. Get the fuck out of here. Where was I? There. I tried to focus on the magazine, but my eyes kept drifting towards the window. The darkness beyond the glass pressing in on me. And then I heard it. A soft, tentative tap against the pane. My heart skipped a beat. I froze, the magazine slipping from my fingers and falling to the floor. The sound was light and almost imperceptible. Imperceptible. Jesus Christ. But it sent a chill coursing through my veins. I told myself it was nothing. I was just being paranoid. But then it came again. Another tap. This time, more insistent. So I think it was right. I think I was right, sorry. That, whatever this thing is, keeps people out, but also keeps people from leaving. So it kind of just keeps the same families stuck there for generations. Who is that, dude? Fucking pacing my sidewalk? Hold on. The lights are on in the car. It's not like they don't know I'm here. Whatever. Also, every time I touch my computer screen, slow roll past my house, motherfucker. Nah, you're gonna catch a bullet. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a second. Piece of shit. Oh, shit. I just read my engine. I'm gonna turn this off. He's walking away. Whatever. Pussy. Where was I? Like I was saying, every time I touch my screen, it scrolls down. It's really annoying. Let's see. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. My eyes were fixed on the window. The darkness beyond it seemed to pulse with life. The tapping stopped, and for a moment, there was nothing but silence. Then, a faint scratching sound, like claws on glass. My heart sank. I knew that sound. I knew what it meant. Slowly, with my legs trembling beneath me, I rose from the bed and approached the window. My hand reached for the curtain, hesitant, and then, with a deep, shaky breath, I pulled it back. What I saw made me freeze in terror. The creature was perched on the fire escape outside my window, its twisted form silhouetted against the moonlit sky, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light, and its presence seemed to fill the room, pressing in on me with an unspeakable horror. I tried to scream, but the sound caught in my throat. The creature's head tilted to the side, its gaze locked on mine, and I felt a wave of dread wash over me. It was here. It had followed me. And then, as if in slow motion, its mouth opened, revealing rows of jagged teeth, and it let out a low, guttural growl. The sound shattered the paralysis that held me in place. I stumbled back, my voice finally breaking free in a raw, terrifying scream. The creature's form seemed to blur and shift. Its presence filled the room with an unspeakable darkness, and then everything went black. I regained consciousness, and I know it's not over. There's no escape from this thing that has followed me. I considered what my parents had said when I asked them why we never moved. Then, with dawning horror, I realized the truth of the words. It is safer for everyone if it's here. They did not mean it's safer for us. They meant it's safer for everyone else. They knew the danger. They stayed to keep it there. Now, in my ignorance, I have made a huge mistake. Somehow, it knew I left. It has followed me here, to a place where over 1 million people will soon know about its existence, and maybe more if it moves beyond that. I am so sorry for bringing it here. I didn't know. Please, for your own safety, stay in sight between 11:38 p.m. and 11:50 p.m. By now, it might not be safe wherever you are as well. That was really good. That was really good. I'm gonna find like one more, but a short one, just because I'm really starting to lose my voice. What is that noise? Oh, this one's a long one. Hold Here. Here's a really short one. By Ocean Bacon. Nice name. A young girl is playing in her bedroom when she hears her mother call from the kitchen. She runs downstairs to meet her mother. As she's running through the hallway, the door to the cupboard under the stair opens, and a hand reaches out and pulls her in. It's her mother. She whispers to the child, "Don't go into the kitchen." I heard it too. That was good. Another mimicry thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, all of these, most of these have some form of mimicry. As it's fucking creepy. It's like the Uncanny Valley territory. Because it's like, it's not 11, is it? No. It got really quiet all of a sudden. I was like, we just read a story about this. Anyway. It's like the Uncanny Valley, because it's like, you hear a voice that you recognize, but if it's not the person that it's supposed to be, it's always going to be freaky, you know, because there's just, it's something about the safety of someone's voice, you know, like if you're in a terrifying situation, right, and it's pitch black, let's say, you're in like a dark room with some creature that you don't know, and you hear a familiar voice, you're gonna think, hey, safety, you know, it's a familiar voice, I feel safe, this is someone I know, and they're gonna help me. But if it's not that person, then it's even more terrifying. Here's another short one. This one's by Kelly Link. Pop out, bro. Nah, keep walking. Keep walking, bro. Anyway. I've always loved ghost stories. Writers like M.R. James, L.P. Hartley, Joanne Aiken, Stephen King, Joe Hill. But the scariest story I've ever heard was a true ghost story. There were 8 or 9 of us at a restaurant in I'm gonna guess that's Raylene. Rayleigh, maybe. Relay? I'm not gonna waste my time trying to pronounce that. There were 8 or 9 of us at a restaurant in North Carolina, and we were telling ghost stories. The friend of a friend said, when I was a girl living in Texas, hell yeah, I had a reoccurring dream. In this dream, I was walking down the street of my hometown, and a man would walk towards me. Sometimes he was older, and sometimes he was younger. He didn't always have the same face, but I always knew it was the same man. He would get closer and closer, and I would know that something bad was going to happen. But I would wake up each time before he reached me. I would be terrified. One night, in my dream, we finally got face to face, and I spoke to him. I said, "What's your name?" He said, "My name is Sammy." And then I woke up. I was so afraid that I couldn't go back to sleep. I went to my sister's room and said, "Can I get in bed with you? I just keep having this really bad dream." My sister said, "Was it Sammy?" I said, "What did you say?" "How do you know Sammy?" My sister said, "I don't. But you just brought him in the room with you." I turned on the light. Oh my God. I turned on the lights and I saw that my sister was asleep. Okay, that was really good. That took a turn. Who is this? Who the fuck are these people? Whatever. Fucking people keep walking around in front of my house. Like, Jesus Christ. Alright. Maybe one more short story. Okay. One more. Let me find a good one. Okay. Last one. By X Severed X. Nice. During the war, a soldier faithfully wrote his mother every week so she would know he was alright. Until one week, she didn't get a letter and immediately began to worry. Within a couple of weeks, she got a letter from the army saying that her son had been captured and was being held prisoner in a POW camp. And they assured her that they had no reason to believe the American prisoners were being mistreated in any way. A few weeks later, the woman finally received another letter from her son. It read, "Dear Mom, try not to worry about me. They're treating us well, and I'll be released as soon as the war is over. Make sure that little Teddy gets the stamp for his collection. Love, Joe." The woman was overjoyed to hear the news, but was confused because she had no idea who little Teddy was. Actually, this lighting's better. This lighting's creepier. I'll leave it off. Yeah, turn that off all the way though to suit better. She was confused because she had no idea who little Teddy was. She decided to steam the stamp from the envelope and have a look. When she did, she saw that it was written on the back of the stamp were the words, "They've cut off my legs." That's good. That's good. That's good. I know I keep saying last one, but we'll do one more because these are really fucking good. A few months ago, a friend of mine, who is an up-and-coming nature photographer, nice, photography's great, decided to spend a day and night alone in the woods outside of our town. She wanted to get photos of the woods and wildlife as the times before. Sorry, I missed a line. She wanted to get photos of the woods and wildlife as naturally as she could for her portfolio. Fuck me, dude. I'm getting jumbled. For her portfolio. She wasn't afraid of being alone, as she had camped by herself many times before. She set up a tent in the middle of a small clearing and spent the day taking pictures. She filled up 4 rolls of film from the trip, but when she went to get them developed, she saw 4 pictures that unsettled her. These 4 pictures were taken from outside the tent of her, asleep in the middle of the night. Okay, so I go camping a lot. I really like nature. Fucking love nature. It's my favorite thing. And one of my biggest fears is waking up. Phone battery's on 20%. Is waking up to someone or something making noise outside my tent. It's terrifying. Now, obviously, I do like have a weapon when I'm camping, but that's still fucking scary, man. Like, can you imagine you're alone in the woods and you wake up and there's just human footsteps walking around your campsite? That would scare anyone. I don't care how fucking tough you are. I don't care if you're a Marine. You're gonna freak out. I don't know if you heard that. Someone's shooting. All right, so I think I'm gonna end the stream here. Been streaming for 50 minutes. I'm losing my voice. I can't find the light switch. There we go. I'm losing my voice, and I don't know how much longer I can do this. So I'm gonna go inside, rest my vocal cords, and then maybe I'll come back out and do another stream where we just listen to horror stories, but I also gotta charge my phone because it's gonna die soon. So yeah. This guy's back. He's back. He's back. He's back. He's back. He's back. What are you doing? What are you doing, motherfucker? Yeah, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Sketchy people walking around my house. Anyway, I'll let you guys know if I'm gonna come back out. I'll just like post about it on Instagram or whatever. But yeah, if you enjoyed, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Fuck. I'm just gonna, yeah.